What's up? This is Screen Fiend Carcino. Once again, running it down to you. The Wonder Woman movie review. Everybody was afraid of this movie, buddy. They was like, ooh, this is it. DC loses this one. They out the box. It, from the beginning when they put it together, when I first saw the shots, it was dingy looking and gray and dull. And I'm like, oh man, they finna mess up Wonder Woman. I said it from the first initial shots. Once they start getting to the trailer and showing you her where she's from, and then you're starting to see it, and I'm like, oh, okay. They ain't finna mess this up. Because this is a win-win if you're DC. All the movies that we're seeing now today are all about feminists. Women destroying everything. Women are in charge and they're running Hollywood. Transformers, this new one you're gonna see is about more feminist than anything. Little girl's gonna stand up to the transform. It's everything about women now taking on great odds, and the men are the sidekicks and the little pawn pieces in the film. So what I didn't want them to do is to do what they've been doing in all these other films, make it a man hate type film with Wonder Woman by her being super powerful and men being weak. Already, this is a feminist dream, Wonder Woman. So you don't need to do too much to mess this up. I mean, the story alone is a very good origin story. She comes from this planet of all women. Like I said, this is already set up to be a feminist dream. So you're gonna see those dollars. But going into the actual film, here it is. This pilot, Steve, crashes on her planet and she's never seen a man before. And there it is. Steve's crashed on the planet. Chris Pine, who played an excellent job on this film. I mean, excellent. You couldn't ask for a better performance than what you got from Chris Pine. Steve Trevor, the best Steve Trevor performance probably there ever will be. Better than the TV show, Steve. This was excellent. Excellent. I don't want to tell a lot of what happened. Zack Snyder, Alan Heinsberg, Jason Fox, all of these people got by and created the story, and Alan Heinsberg for his writing credit coming up with the screenplay. Excellent. Because it was funny, the jokes weren't forced, and all the timing connected. Now, of course, you have the duck out of water type situation or the fish out of water situation where you have Steve Trevor crashing on Wonder Woman's planet. And she's at the point where she doesn't understand, she's basically learning even on her home planet like how to defend. Then there's an attack that happens in her homeland and something happens there, and then she ends up having to travel to London, to our world where there's every people everywhere. And when she sees London, it's funny because she basically says what I said. It's dull. It's this is it. From where she came from to this was like, are you kidding me? Now, when she sees this place and all the timing, all the comedic timing was on point for this film. This reminds you of Superman, the very first Superman, when Lois Lane and Clark Kent are in the street. She don't know he's Superman. Clark is like saving her and doing all these different things, and like the whole alley scene when the guy shot the bullet at Clark. They have a situation where she saves him instead of Superman saving Lois. From the robber. When she tried to fight him off. Now, All of these different situations that you see, and that was more of a homage piece for a lot of people who don't remember the first Superman. The chemistry between Superman, who played Clark Kent, and Margaret Kidder playing Lois Lane, they were so believable. The chemistry was so believable between those two. That's how it is in this film here. Oh my God, Chris Pine, who's playing Steve Trevor, he makes Gal Gadot, I think that's her name, Gal Gadot, the model who Thomas, my buddy, is deadly in love with. He made the Diana Prince Wonder Woman thing work. The chemistry was perfect. She comes to London. She's like a fish out of water there. So you have a dual fish out of water story with Wonder Woman, which leads to great character development. All you have to do is follow what's already there. It's like following the breadcrumbs. The story between the two is made for gold. All it takes is decent writing to put these things together so you can have a great film. And it has three major action scenes. There's one good action scene that's like in the second act. That one I think was probably the best action scene of the entire film. I'm not gonna go into too much, but you've seen most of it on some of it on the commercial with the slow mo, and but when they get going, they get going. It's a lot of slow mo scenes in here, and I'm like, I don't know why they're slowing this, but then again, we probably do know why. But when it got going with the fast motion shots, you're like, okay, she's kicking some butt. But here are the detractions from the film. Will this win over the kids? I don't know. It might, but the younger kids, the merchandising maybe, but this is kind of a slow burn. Wonder Woman is kind of a slow burn because after the first scenes of action you see in the beginning, near in the first act, the second act is, it's still more developing. The first act was some developing, second act has some developing with some action. So when the third act hits, it kind of disappointed because it was not supported well with villains. You got about two, maybe three villains. You want to count this other villain? Okay, three villains. And neither one really hold their own weight. They're not even developed. They're just thrown in there like we need a villain. Who we gonna dig up? So the thing about it is that she learns how to care about situations she didn't know she could. She didn't know how to express feelings. Like Wonder Woman, even though she's powerful, she doesn't know how powerful she is yet. This is really the birth of Wonder Woman. Like her coming into her own. She doesn't know what all she could do. This is not like Batman versus Superman. When she was at that point, she had been Wonder Woman for many years. She had destroyed people. She's been the other planets by the time Batman and Superman happened. She was well into herself and knowing what she could do. This is the point where she doesn't know what she's going to be or what she can do. So she's testing she's finding her strength as she's growing. Origin stories are always great. Thor, his origin story was great. It's very rare you find an origin story movie and it's terrible. It's always the sequel that follows the origin story. The sophomore jinx, the letdown, because the getting to know the character is the best part. We've had, I don't know how many Spider-Mans, and they keep reintroducing Spider-Man and him getting bit by a spot. We already know this. It's like we've seen that. Let's move on. Now I think they're finally getting Spider-Man correct. Now you're gonna see a whole different scenario. Meaning with Wonder Woman, where they go with her character. The Justice League film, then another singular Wonder Woman movie. I think this Wonder Woman will be very successful. I think it's going to do well. And you could watch it again and like kick back and watch it. I had no problems really with Suicide Squad, except for I think the Joker should have been the villain. He should have been in the film more. The only detraction I would take from it, I love the soundtrack of Suicide Squad, just like the score for this isn't bad at all, except for that opening. I hate that song. Hate that score, whatever. They had it for Batman versus Superman. I hated it. But besides that, though, the score is excellent. Now, where do I rate this movie? Out of 4 stars, I give it 3 stars. I think it's very well done, very well put together, and it surprised even me. I had very low expectations for Wonder Woman at first, till I started seeing it come together, and I said, okay, I think they got it right. So on that note, we're out of here. This is Carcino for Screen Fiends saying thank you again for giving me your time. I'm out.